In just about any marriage, there's this constant, delicate dance going on. It's that push and pull between me and we. It's the tension between one person's deep, driving need for independence and the other's deep, driving need for connection. So today, we're going to dive right into why that happens, and more importantly, what you can actually do about it.
So, just for a second, does this ring a bell? Does it feel familiar? Like maybe one of you is constantly trying to find a little alone time, a little space, while the other's asking, so what are we going to do tonight? If that hits home, well, you are definitely in the right place, because this is probably one of the most common dynamics in any partnership.
Okay, let's break this down. On one side, you've got autonomy. This is that deep down, totally valid need for your own space, for your independence, for self-expression. It's that little voice inside that says, I just need my own time to be me. And on the other side, you've got unity. This is that equally important, equally valid need for partnership, for feeling included. It's the voice that says, hey, we're a team, right? Both are absolutely essential for a happy, healthy person. But boy, in a marriage, sometimes it feels like they're at war.
So let's really get into how this whole clash tends to play out. When a husband's drive for autonomy bumps up against a wife's drive for unity, it is so easy to see it as this big battle where somebody has to win and somebody has to lose. But what is really going on just under the surface?
This right here, this gets to the absolute heart of the misunderstanding. So picture this. A husband decides to go work on his car for a few hours, or just makes a decision on his own. In his mind, he is just meeting his need for autonomy. Simple. But for his wife, that exact same action can land like a painful message. It can feel like he's saying, I don't need you, leaving her feeling lonely, shut out, and threatening her core need for partnership.
And now, let's flip that coin. When the wife, who's feeling disconnected, asks for more togetherness, or maybe just comes right out and tells him to stop being so independent, well, that can feel like a direct attack to him. To him, it doesn't sound like a request for connection, it can feel like a demand to give up a piece of who he is, threatening his fundamental need for self-expression. And just like that, he feels controlled and the walls go right up.
Okay, so we've got two completely valid needs that feel like they're in a total standoff. It seems impossible, right? But what if the real conflict isn't between those needs at all? What if we've been looking at this whole thing completely wrong?
This is the question that changes the game. We've been assuming the fight is autonomy versus unity. We argue about who's right, who's being unreasonable. But what if those needs themselves? What if they can't actually be in conflict? What if the real problem is hiding somewhere else entirely?
And here it is. This one idea changes everything. I want you to let this sink in. Needs are never in conflict. Strategies are. Your need for autonomy, 100% valid. Your partner's need for unity, also 100% valid. The conflict, the fight, it's not coming from the needs themselves. It's coming from the methods, the strategies you're both using to try and meet them.
So this brings us to a super important distinction. We have to separate the what you need from the how you get it. Honestly, this is the framework that can take you from a battlefield to a brainstorming session. Let's really break it down.
So first up, we have the need. This is your what. Think of it as the core human requirement deep inside you. Needs like connection, safety, respect, and yep, autonomy. They are non-negotiable for a healthy life. Every single one of us has them.
And then we have the strategy. This is the how. It's the specific action, person, or situation you use to meet that need. And this is where all the trouble starts. We get so rigid and stuck on our strategies, we totally forget that there are a million different ways to meet a need.
Okay, let's look at a super clear example. The need here is for connection. Totally valid, really important. But the rigid strategy is, he must take me to this specific Italian restaurant tonight at 7 p.m. Can you already see the problem? When we confuse the strategy, the dinner, for the actual need, connection, we are setting ourselves up to fail. Because if he's exhausted from work, the strategy fails, and guess what? The need for connection doesn't get met. The healthy way is to focus on the need. I'm really needing some connection with you. And then be flexible on the how. What if we got takeout and cuddled on the couch? Or maybe just went for a walk together?
All right, so how do we actually do this? How do we put it into practice? It all starts with changing the way we talk to each other, moving away from criticizing their strategy and moving toward talking about our own underlying needs.
Just look at the night and day difference here. You're not doing your share. That's a criticism, a you statement. It's an attack, and it immediately puts the other person on the defensive. But watch what happens when you frame it as an I statement. I'm feeling so tired and overwhelmed. You're expressing your feeling and your need, which invites your partner to be part of the solution instead of making them the problem.
So you can actually boil this down to a pretty simple 3-step process. First, the next time your partner does something that bugs you, just pause. Instead of reacting to what they did, get curious. Try to guess their underlying need. Are they looking for autonomy, a little bit of peace, respect? Step 2, express your need using a gentle I statement. And finally, step 3, brainstorm new strategies together. The whole goal is to find a creative new how that actually works for both of you.
Now this is a powerful script for what that conversation could sound like. Just imagine a husband saying this. First, he validates his own need. I value my autonomy. Then he validates hers, but I never want it to come at the cost of our closeness. He takes responsibility for the impact of his actions. I do want to stop making you feel alone. And then he opens the door to teamwork. Can we find a way to do that? That is how you build a bridge over that gap.
And all of this leads us to the real goal here. It isn't for one person to win, or even for you both to just become completely independent people living in the same house. The real goal is something so much more powerful.
See, the opposite of being unhealthily dependent on your partner isn't being completely independent from them. That just leads to having a roommate. The real goal, the better alternative, is interdependence. This is where you are two strong, whole individuals who actively choose to act in ways that always take each other's feelings and needs into account.
Because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about, isn't it? The goal isn't just to coexist without fighting. It's to become truly united in purpose and in spirit, creating a partnership that is so much stronger and more amazing than just the sum of its parts.
So, I'm going to leave you with this one question to think about. What's one of those recurring conflicts in your relationship, and what's the one rigid strategy that you're clinging to? Now, what's a new strategy you could try this week that honors both your need and your partner's need? Because finding that answer, that is the real key to turning conflict into connection.